Full competitive in a new country, the best strategy, keys for success, and some secret weapons. So let's get started because we have trophies to win. Hey guys, it's Uncle Mish, and today I want to do a guide about competitive play in a new country. We had 4 new countries joining Hat-Trick a week ago: Belize, Botswana, Madagascar, and St. Vincent. 2 seasons ago, we had Ethiopia and Congo. And 5 seasons ago, we introduced Comoro, Curacao, Guam, Sri Lanka, and Sao Tome, all part of the Hat-Trick upcoming new World Cup format. And a new country is a golden opportunity for everyone to experience nice competitive play and the rush for the first titles. So everyone's starting with the same condition. No one is super rich, no one has a very good team. All start from the same starting point. And that's a race to be the best team, to be the first champion, to be the first cup holder, and that's pretty fun. When the 5 new countries were introduced, I joined Sao Tome and I tried to be semi-competitive, to train and to try to win something, and it was pretty nice. Then I switched to Ethiopia 2 seasons ago and I tried to do the full competitive mode, and that was quite successful. In the first and second season in Ethiopia, my team Sneaky Cat had the highest ratings. In the first season, I was a cup finalist, and although I had much better chances to win those cup, as random struck happens and I lost it. But the next season, I won the cup, I promoted to the first division, and I even managed to win the Generation Cup of 2019. So overall, I know how to be competitive, and I would like to share some of my experience. And it's not only me. Those are the 7 managers winning the first cup in a new country, in the last 7 new countries in Hat-Trick, all using the same veteran strategy. Let's talk about this. What is this veteran strategy? So it says you'll be more competitive from the start, but you'll focus less on training. You'll be using a lot of older players, 35 to 38-year-old. They have higher skills, they give you higher ratings, they are a great money value. It's a short-term plan, and they have higher experience for good cup runs. And what are the keys for success with this veteran strategy? That's one of the things that you need to know, and we'll be talking about a lot of tips for each one of the keys. So it will be financial management, transfer market, training, staff, your coach, formations, competitions, team spirit, and some secret weapons that will give you the edge. So let's get going. First of all, it's financial management. You want to buy older players with higher skill for a lower price, and you want to buy a full squad of those players. So you need money. If you have more money, you'll be able to buy better players, or if you know how to find good bargains. Then you should sell someone. Why you should sell? Because any amount of money that you're gaining, you could invest in better older players. So who should you sell? Some nice 18-year-old players that you are getting from the starting senior team. If they were something, sell them. If you have a future coach, a homegrown future coach, those are usually inadequate experience, solid leadership. If you have one of those, you could sell them. He'll give you a nice amount of money and you'll be able to buy better players. Make sure you don't get bankrupt. It doesn't mean that you are going and buying at week 1 or in the off season any player that you can. You have to be smart about this. If the season started, don't buy too many players that will lower your team spirit, because you want to be competitive. Not only buy good players, and don't get bankrupt. Don't buy players with too high of a salary. It all accumulates. Don't touch your stadium. A lot of new managers saying, "Oh, I want to increase my stadium." No, the amount of fans that will come for your home matches is really minuscule. You won't gain anything by that. But investing useless money in the stadium, it's money that you can't invest in your team. And as I said, don't overspend. No too high salaries and good too expensive players. So let's talk about the transfer market. This is your bread and butter. You want to buy good players, you want to buy them for low price, and you want to have high skills. And if you can, try and sell a few players as well. So your main focus is inner midfielders, because when everyone's starting from the same starting point and the max skill of all the players that we are getting in a new team is like solid playmaking, maybe excellent playmaking, that's it. If you are buying an older player, he'll immediately be a game changer and will allow you to win possession, sometimes even on, like a lot of times, even on away matches in the league, and win cup matches. So that's very important. Again, make sure you don't spend too much money. In the first weeks, it's okay to buy players with 11 or 12 playmaking, some nice secondary skills. If you could afford some passing for attack ratings, that would be good. Make sure they have nice experience, because the higher experience they have, the better chance that you'll get like the nerve event for your opponent in the cup, and you'll decrease his ratings. That's a good thing. Another thing, one of your players should be a future coach. So some of the strategies we are using, it's not short term for the first half of the season, the first cup run, and then you are done. No, we want to do this strategy to transition to the next season and the seasons to come. So using this veteran strategy in a new country could actually give you a lot of money through competition. In like established countries, the big countries in hat-trick, no way you'll open a team and you'll be able to win a cup. So you don't have to think about veteran strategy all the way, because you won't win it and it's just throwing money away. But in a new country, if you are winning the cup, you are getting 1.5 million euros for this. So that's a very substantial amount to transition for better training even. So one of the players you're buying is a future coach, not the future coach that everyone is hoarding money with. The future coach with passable leadership and nice experience that you want to actually use as a future coach next season. And I'll be talking. I'll talk about it a bit later. If you can, one of the players should be a set piece taker. Again, you want to maximize every chance, every opportunity that you can to score goals. Also, inner midfielders are the most or the least expensive position in the game. They're the cheapest players and they give you the best returns. So you want good inner midfielders. At the first weeks, you could buy 11, 12 playmaking inner midfielders, and then when you are getting closer to the medium and final stages of the cup, you are upgrading yourself with 13, 14 playmaking. And I'm giving you some suggestions for the max amount of money that you should spend on such players. Don't overspend. Don't feel like you have to buy all the players immediately. It's okay to buy one or two inner midfielders in the first, second week of the season. It depends if your league opponent is not using the veteran strategy. He is just going for training young players. You'll probably win against him even with one or two or three older players. You don't have to have the whole squad. Then you can use technical defensive forwards. TDFs are done on high competitive level in hat-trick. No one is using them due to man marking, but it's a new country. Midfield actually is king here, and normal forwards are more expensive. So just use technical defensive forwards because everyone's selling them for lower prices. If you can, buy players with specialities, that could be a nice benefit. If you are buying defense players, again, 11, 12 defense at the beginning with some wing. And if you can find good players with 13, 14, do it as well. Don't accumulate too many salaries because you don't want to be dragging higher salaries until the cup final. Don't get bankrupt. It's dangerous. And look for bargains. Sometimes you'll find a few good players in the market. So if the price is really low and the salaries are low as well, buy them both. Buy several of them. And then even maybe sell them, because if you are able to generate money in the market, it will help you buy better players towards the final stages of the cup or competition. And that's an example of a player that I was managed to buy on the first season in Ethiopia. He was 13 playmaking, 14 passing, 11 scoring. He dropped a couple of levels in each skill in the past season, but I still keep him. And he is a technical specialty, so it's a TDF, and I was able to buy him for 350k. Well, I bought him just before the cup final, so it was actually the half of the season already, so I was able to generate some money, and I was able to buy such players to really increase my chances in the final. So those are some examples for players and the transfer market. And those are the ratings of all the teams playing in the first finals in the last 7 cups. Yeah, I have only 6 here, but I'll switch one of the pictures soon. So you could see here Team Colombo, I remember he was playing in Sri Lanka. So his overall rating was 297 headsets. That's pretty nice. Midfield of almost 12. Here it's 287, 250, 260, 240 headsets, 285, 295, and midfields are going between 11.5, 12, 10, something like this. This is my final. I had the highest midfield of all of them. But I went full Norwegian here, had 84 victories in the replays. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but still the ratings were worthy of winning. And the amount of money I paid for my squad playing in the final was 1 million euro or dollars. So I'll talk about how to generate this amount of money, and it wasn't only me. Like Team Colombo, he spent 2.6 million euros for the squad winning the first final, but he's an exception. He's a terrific trader. He was able to generate a lot of money. So let's put him on the side for a second. The other champions spent 500,000 euros, 1.2 million euros, 0.9 million euros, and 1.3. So most of the managers winning the first cup, they spent about 1 million euros after 8 weeks of play, because or even 7 weeks of play, because the cup is on the 7th week in new countries. So you do need to generate some money, and you do need to spend about 1 million euro to have a squad worthy of winning a cup in the first season. So let's talk about training. The veteran strategy is less training, but it doesn't mean you don't train at all. One thing that you do, immediately open a youth academy. It will give you great returns in the second season. Apart from the future code that you are buying for second season, this is another thing that you are planning for the future. A good youth academy could generate you players that you could sell for millions of euros starting from the second season. So even if it won't give you anything in the first season, it's a very good seed to plant for the near future. Then my suggestion is to train goalkeepers. Why goalkeepers? Because you are going for the veteran strategy. You want to have midfield control and you want to score goals and win this way. So the easiest weakness to cover is goalkeeper training, because you don't need to train a lot of players. You're only training one player a game. And if you're playing a Norwegian 2-5-3 or 3-5-2, the younger goalkeeper that you are training is negligible. So I was able to do skill trades on goalkeepers. I was able to buy goalkeepers that were pretty close to leveling up, giving them 1, 2, maybe 3 trainings, and then they would pop. I would sell them for immediate return, and I did this 7 times during the first season. Those 7 trades gave me 1.9 million euros in profit during the first season. Also, for the duration of the whole season, one of the slots for goalkeeper training was a homegrown player that I had from the beginning of the team. And he's not that great, he's just a homegrown player, so I'm getting the homegrown bonus for him. And I'm training him goalkeeping, so he's actually contributing quite nicely to my defense ratings, and in games I wanted to play for both midfield possession and defense attack ratios, I was using him and having overall good ratings. So I would suggest goalkeeping. Any other position will make your overall strategy weaker. Forwards, you won't have enough attack ratings to play with free 17 or 18-year-old forwards. Inner midfielder, no way you'll be able to take possession. Wingers, well, it's more difficult, and wingers are good contributors to possession, so probably it will fall off as well. And defense, you just need to train too many defensive players, so you won't be competitive. The best competitive way is to go goalkeeping. And other thing is stamina share. This is crucial. A lot of players or a lot of managers are saying, okay, I want to use the veteran strategy, but I want to maximize my training, so I'll use 10% stamina share. No, your players will have so low stamina, so at the end of the matches, your rating will drop significantly. So I'm suggesting 34% stamina to 50% stamina. I'm training 34% stamina, you could see here, and it's goalkeeping. It's from the first week that I got Sneaky Cat. I'm doing 34% and goalkeeping. Why you should do more or less? So that's a very nice thing you could actually check for yourself in the training planner. You could plan not only the training you want to do, but also the stamina share that you want to use. So for comparison, I gave you 4 programs. 15% stamina share, 25, 34, and 50% stamina share. And I have, for example, players from the age of 40 to the age of 35. So players in the age of 35 to 40, they'll have stamina of 2 to 5 with 15% stamina share. With 25% stamina share, their stamina will be between 4 and 6. And with 34 and 50%, it will be between 4 and 7. Why is 34 the same as 50? Well, first of all, in my example, my players are already at their peak stamina levels, or almost peak stamina levels. Every player has a maximum stamina that he can't have more than this amount of stamina. For 35-year-old players, it's 7 stamina. If they already have 7 stamina, 34% stamina share will keep them at this level. But if they'll have lower than 7 stamina, the 34 will get them to 7 slower than 50. So if you want to buy players with really low stamina share, really low stamina, you could use 50% stamina share for a few weeks, bump them quicker to their max stamina, and their drop to 34 and just maintain. Because higher stamina shares will have lower average form for your players, and form is also very important for your ratings. So if you have a supporter, you could actually check it for yourself in the training planner. And if not, just believe me, 34 to 50. And then, what's the most competitive stuff that you could have? I talked about this about staff setups video, but for the staff, it's 1 medic to have lower injury risk and higher recovery times, or like faster recovery times. Psychologist, very important. You want to have a psychologist for your team for higher team spirit and higher team confidence. Form coach, crucial. You want to have higher form, better ratings. And 1 assistant coach, well, you do want to have some training, and also the assistant coach gives you a small boost to your form as well. So I think assistant coach, you could have a tactical coach as well to play with defense attack ratios. Check it out. This is my current staff, and you could say, hey, Mish, wait a second, you have 2 assistant coaches. What do you say that we need a psychologist and you are having 2 coaches? So this is an off-season trick. During the off-season, your team spirit and team confidence is non-important. So you are actually I'm able to use my psychologist only for the duration of the season when I'm competitive, and then I'm switching for a couple of weeks for a second assistant coach for a bit quicker training and also a small boost to my form. But come week 1 of the season, I'm kicking out the second assistant coach and I'm bringing the psychologist. Super important. So in the first season, take all of them for a 16-week contract to have lower salaries, and I would suggest level 4 for medic psych, form, and assistant coach. If you feel that you don't have enough money, go for a level 3. If you want to be super competitive, go on the edge, use level 4. And in the second season, you could actually start using only level 5 because you want to maximize your competitive play. And you could see here, I have a max 5 any stuffer. Next is your coach. So a lot of managers are saying, okay, I got a new team, let's train well. I want to switch my initial original coach that he is passable coach with weak leadership, and we are all switching to a solid coach. That's not good. That's not good. A solid coach and even like a level 3 leadership, because it's the cheapest that you could get. But we don't want to focus on training. We don't want to do that. Keep your original coach. And why you should keep your original coach? Because it's okay to use your original coach for a few weeks, because he has a weak leadership. Level 4 leadership, it's slightly okay. If you are playing against bots, you will still be able to play picks and generate higher team spirit. But when you are getting to the time that your next matches will start to be more difficult, maybe you have good opponents in the league, maybe you are already getting good opponents in the cup, switch to a temporary weak coach with solid leadership. This is our strategy. Full competitive. I don't care about training. I'm switching to a weaker coach. The only deficit, like negative side here, is you will get on average slightly less form, but you are using a form coach, so it evens up. But the solid leadership from the start, no one will be able to do it unless they're copying your strategy. So you will maintain better team spirit management, and you want to do it until the cup final and win the cup final, and then think about maybe switching to the solid coach level 3 leadership or not. But we coach solid leadership, very important, good trick for a first season. And then at the beginning of the second season, you already bought your future coach. Change, have a solid leadership, solid coach, passable leadership. This is my coach. From the start of the second season, I'm using him, and no one in Ethiopia, or almost no one, did this at the beginning. They didn't buy future coaches to use, and now they were stuck with solid leadership but weak coaches, if they copied the short-term strategy, or maybe the original coaches, or maybe low leadership coaches. So this way, from the second season, you are training well, good form, and good team spirit management. So this is for your coach. Formations. So we are starting with a good enough experience in 4-4-2 formation, and a 4-4-2 formation is a very balanced formation. You could do almost anything with it. You can play defensively, you could play offensively, you could even play midfield oriented with 3 inner midfielders and 1 winger. I would suggest add another formation, and I would say Norwegian, either a 2-5-3 or a 3-5-2, because a 2-5-3 formation will give you massive midfield and good attack, and you'll be able to win a lot of matches this way. And the 3-5-2, it's a more balanced version. I would say you could go more extreme because it's the beginning of the season and you do want to score, but either is good. in the first 7 matches, in the first 7 cup finals in the last 7 new countries, we had 7 teams using the 3-5-2 formation and 7 teams using the 2-5-3 formation. The teams playing 3-5-2 won 5 titles, and the 2-5-3 won 2 titles, but still the ratings were pretty balanced, so you could go either way. At the beginning, especially the first league match, sometimes you'll be playing against opponents that are pretty strong or the same level as you. Make sure not to use a formation without experience, because they could have the formation drop and then they'll drop the ratings. So if you want to play for midfield in the first league match and you weren't able to play 2 friendlies and generate enough formation experience, and enough formation experience is excellent formation experience, you won't have any formation drops, but due to confusion. But with less than that, you could have a confusion. So make sure to generate enough formation experience before you are using it in competitive plays. If you are using against a weak team, if you are playing against a bot team in the cup, yeah, play a Norwegian formation or a 3-5-2 balance formation. That would be enough. Another nice thing that we spoke about, a lot of people are using defensive forwards or even TDFs. So in the 7 finals, all the 14 teams, 19 times defensive forward was used, and only 16 normal forwards was used. So it's pretty popular to play for midfield-oriented formations. So gain the experience needed in friendlies or cup versus bots or against weak teams. And in the first league, maybe play a 4-4-2 mid-oriented, that's 3 inner midfielders, 1 winger. Next is its competition, team spirit, and team confidence. Well, pick as much as you can to have higher team spirit. Team spirit management is important, and if you have team spirit, higher team spirit, it will be good for you. When you have a high team spirit, you could play 1 normal a week and 1 pick a week. So you could choose to pick in the league, to pin in the cup, and still remain at higher team spirit levels. And also prepare for defense attack ratios. Just for example, those are my games from the semi-final, quarter-final, and last 16. Here I was like, I was always thinking to myself, do I want to play for midfield or do I want to play for defense attack ratios, and where do I invest more importance? Let's say here I was playing the Norwegian because I blocked 2 defensive side, 1 midfield big time, and had good enough chances to score. I only neglected my center defense. Here I played a 4-4-2 formation because with a 4-4-2 and a high team spirit level, I was able to take midfield control and have good defense attack ratios. So no need to have an overkill in the midfield if you are neglecting defense, because this way the match engine could get random, and if you can get both, don't do overkill in one sector. And here, for example, I played in the semifinal the 4-4-2 against the 3-5-2 of my opponent. So I had enough experience in the Norwegian and in the 4-4-2. And he was playing only 3-5-2. I knew that I win defense attack ratios, and midfield was equal from the start. And I also used conditional changes. So you could see here, I didn't need them in this particular game, but I made a conditional change to switch from a 4-4-2 to a Norwegian formation if I was down like a minute 40. So this way my team will have enough time to have midfield control and even stronger attack ratings to make a comeback. And also make sure to use smart man marking, because a lot of managers are not thinking about this even. They are just buying those technical defensive forwards, and we're buying them as well, but they are not thinking about the fact that they could be man mark. And if you are playing a defense player, don't buy a powerful defense player. You could buy a cheap defense player without a speciality, and players without a speciality will get half of the man marking bonus as the powerful players. So you could have good man marking on a midfield contributor of your opponent, like inner midfielder or a defensive forward, and you are crushing him in the midfield this way. So smart man marking is another smart thing that you could do with competition. It's team spirit management via the temporary coach with solid leadership, a lot of picks, and midfield oriented formations. And now secret weapons. Secret weapons are like your big guns. You can't use them from the start because it will ruin your team. But if you are getting to the finals, definitely those are the tricks that could give you the edge. First of all, it's the team spirit trick. If you are lowering your training intensity before the training before the cup match, not just like before the cup match without a training there, if you have a training. So check my team spirit team spirit trick video. So if you're lowering your team's training intensity, your team spirit will be very high. So if you're playing in the semi-final and you're saying, oh, I have to mods this match, I'm playing against such a strong opponent, no way I'll be able to win without a mods. Okay, consider to mods in the semi-final. No one will expect you to have again high team spirit and high midfield, and then immediately after the cup you are lowering your team spirit, and check in the team spirit bar, the training intensity bar, how much your team spirit will increase, and this way you'll be able to have again a lot of team spirit. You can't do this too many times because there's amount of times that you could lower your training intensity until it drops completely. Then you'll increase it, your team spirit and player form might drop significantly, especially the form that the team spirit will definitely drop. But if you already won the cup, it doesn't matter. I actually did not do this trick ever in my competitive short career with Sneaky. I didn't need it, but it's a good thing to know. Smart man marking, we were speaking about this, swapping to a temporary weak coach with solid leadership for team spirit management. We spoke about this. If you are using a weak coach with solid leadership, he costs you 10k euro. So 10,000 euro is nothing. So you are able to swap him several times. And why you should swap him several times? You already have a solid leadership to maintain team spirit. So you could do it to have a defense-minded or attack-oriented coach. And this way, bam, you're playing against a team with stronger defense, use an attacking coach for 10k. And if you're playing against a team that only plays a Norwegian formation, and you could have the same trick on the defensive side, play for defense attack ratings, because if any attack that you have will score because he plays without defense at all, you could do this. Another good trick that you could do is play for experience, player experience. If you are in a tight match in the cup, the team that has the higher team experience will force a negative nerve event for their opponent, and this could drop their ratings, midfield, defense, and attack significantly. And I forced negative events with Sneaky Cat and also with my first team Sherlock when I was winning my first cup ever. I forced a negative event. I used a minute 70 substitution, so I saved my player. He was actually in worse form, but he had higher experience, so I saved him until minute 70, and in case of a deficit, I switched him with a player that had lower experience, because the nerve event will happen only around minute 70 to 90. Sometimes it will happen around minute 65. So you could do it just before minute 70, even minute 69, that would be nice, right? To force those negative nerve events of your opponents. And extreme Norwegian formations, if you are in a midfield battle, do anything to win. Even play your other inner midfielder, or buy an extra inner midfielder, play him as an offensive center defender to get your midfield possession if you really need it. Consider, where was I? Okay, consider doing one game purchases. Sometimes you could buy, like, before the final, search for players on high form, high stamina, high skills, even if they have like amazingly high salaries for one game that you really want to win. Buy them, use them, sell them. That's okay. If you don't have money, you have an extra super trick, and that's the player sale loan. So I never used this trick because I did not need it, but I saw a lot of managers who used it, and maybe now someone will use it against me. But let's say you are about to play a cup final and you lack players and you lack money. We know that players will stay on the transfer market for 72 hours. And if the player on the transfer market but is not been sold before the game, you are still able to use them. So you could place your best players or most expensive players on the transfer market when it's less than 72 times before the cup final. Don't do it like 80 hours before the cup final, because they'll be sold and you won't be able to use them. But if you are selling them like 70 hours or 69 hours before the cup final, or 48 hours before the cup final, and you are getting bids on them, like, place them for zero. People will start bidding for your players. The money that was bid on your players, you are able to use it already. So you'll be able to buy, let's say someone placed bids for €1,000,000 for 5 of your players that you placed on the transfer market. You'll be able to use this €1,000,000 to buy an amazingly expensive and very good inner midfielder for the final. Then you're placing him, playing with him, winning the cup, and then, I don't know, selling him. And you could rebuy the players that you placed on the transfer market. So that's another trick that you could do. Hopefully it's a lot of secret weapons for you. So, and let's speak about the aftermath. What this veteran strategy could do for you. Who could withstand it? Who could transition and pivot from this strategy for more success? And who'll get crushed? So the 5 new countries that were introduced before, let's see. In Comoro, the manager who won the first cup, he had 2 more semifinals and 1 more final, and he reached the first division. So this is nice. The player from Guam, he reached 2 semifinals, 1 final, and the first division. That's cool. The manager who won the first cup in Sao Tome, he reached only the 3rd division, and he quit his team. He closed it. And the manager who won the first cup in Curacao, he only reached the 3rd division. He's still there, but he wasn't able to transition, and this strategy probably drained his funds and he wasn't able to do anything about it. I'm leaving this guy for last. So in Congo, the country that was introduced 2 seasons ago, the winner from Congo, he did well. He won the first cup. He won the second cup in the second season, and he promoted to the first division, and he won the first championship. So he transitioned very well from the veteran strategy. The manager who won the first cup in Ethiopia against me, so he reached the second season cup as well against me. And after he lost the game, he just retired. And his team reached the first division in Ethiopia, but mid-season he just retired. And the best transition. So this is the coach of Sri Lanka, Tim Colombo, the best trader, the one that his player value for the first cup after 8 seasons of play was worth 2.6 million. So he was able to win another cup in the second season. He was able to promote to the first division in Sri Lanka and win championships in the 4th and 5th season of Sri Lanka. And also to this season, he won the Generation Cup of 2018. So Los Ninos, the Spanish manager who trains Team Colombo in Sri Lanka, he is the king of kings of new teams. So he's pretty good. And what's the aftermath of my team, Sneaky? So just for example, this is my ratings in the cup final of the second season. I was able to improve my head stats for over 100. It's like 383. My player value of the squad winning the second season is 8.8 million. So in the first season, the value was only 1 million euros. Here it's 8.8. So I was able to pivot from the veteran strategy, getting to the cup final, earning some competitive funds, and yeah, to be more competitive, to win more trophies, like the cup and the generation trophy, and also promote to the first division. And hopefully I'll continue to do well. We'll see. It will be interesting. So guys, this is the competitive guide for a new country, the veteran strategy that you could use, and all the key points for success. Let's look at them again. Where is it? The key for success. So it's financial management, is still, it's a short-term strategy, but still you are doing some things to pivot for future success. Youth Academy will do it, future coach will do it, using the money that you are getting from your competitive earnings will do it. So what do you think about it, guys? Do you have a team in a new country in Hat-Trick? What's happening here? Do you have a team in a new country in Hat-Trick? And if you do, by the way, if you have a team in St. Vincent's and the Grenadines, make sure to try and win against HT-Johan. He has a team in SVG, and well, at least if you won't win the cup, you could win against the game owner. What do you think? Did I miss something? Do you have other secret weapons that you could use for your competitive guide? Do you have other things that you think that are very important to do so? I would love to hear your opinion. Please write me in the description. Thank you so much for listening to all of my babbling and my strategies. Hopefully it will help you. And you could afterwards write me what was your success in the first season in a new country. So with that being said, if you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, it helps it grow. And as I'll always say, Hat-Trick, it's more than a game, it's a community. And I'll see you in a new country.